Welcome into the Bobby Carpenter Show with my man Anthony Schlegel here, and it's a big Thursday for us. It's a great show for you. We've got a lot of great things going on today, and it's a huge slate of college football that is going to be coming at you this weekend. A ton of ranked-on-ranked matchups, and so we bring in the guy who is the best, who does the best job that I've ever been around. Nobody does it better. He's been doing a terrific job. Mr. Ben Scott Stevens to preview what is an unbelievable weekend, Ben, on college football.
Yeah, Bobby, it is an awesome weekend here in week number 7. You mentioned the 3 ranked versus ranked top 25 tilts, 2 of them bright and early at noon Eastern time, as you guys well know. In Champaign, Illinois returns to our life, and Missouri and Alabama in Columbia. Later in the day, it's a top 10 tilt between Oregon and Indiana. And not just the 3 ranked versus ranked top 25 matchups, but 7 games, including those 3, featuring a ranked team against an undefeated foe or a team with 1 loss or fewer. So it's going to be a huge weekend of college football as we get even deeper into the month of October.
Pretty remarkable to see that right there, Ben. Unbelievable. Is there a particular game of interest that you would like to start with right off the jump?
I would like to start with the top 10 tilt in Eugene. Inside Autzen Stadium, it's number 3, Oregon. It's number 7, Indiana. And one of the reasons I want to start there, Bobby, is because of the magnitude of this game for both sides, but largely for the Hoosiers. In their 3rd top 10 game under Curt Cignetti, who became the head coach to start 2024, in the prior 125 years of IU football, they had played in 2 top 10 games. I guess that should date back to the start of the AP poll in 1936. But still, more top 10 matchups for Indiana in the last year plus under Cignetti than they had seen in the previous history of that program. And last year, when they were in their first top 10 tilt in Columbus against Ohio State, it was that first litmus test for the Hoosiers. They had been unreal in the way that they had performed against the softer competition, but how would they step up in class? Wasn't a great success. Of course, the college football playoff game against Notre Dame, losing by 10, not a great success, and 2 of those touchdowns in the game coming in the final 90 seconds of regulation. This year feels slightly different. This year feels like Indiana is further legitimizing what we saw last year, not an anomaly by any means, but it is real, and we should take even greater stock in Indiana, maybe becoming a football program in Bloomington. But I think for that to really have legs, guys, they need to stay within this game. It's a 7.5-point spread, and the betting markets are buying into the Hoosiers. Probably not what you would expect based on Indiana's struggles against the best of the best a season ago and kind of the narrative around Cignetti and this Indiana program. Line opened at 9.5 on Sunday afternoon. Both the betting public and the betting sharps on the Hoosiers expecting Indiana to stay in this game against one of the best teams in the country in Oregon and one of the best atmospheres in college football in Autzen Stadium.
How do you think Indiana gets it done? What has to happen for Indiana to get it done?
It's a great question, Schlegs, because in those 2 games last year against the top class competition, Ohio State and Notre Dame, Indiana scored a total of 32 points, 15 against the Buckeyes, 17 against the Irish. But again, those final 2 touchdowns coming in the last minute and a half of regulation. The offense was stagnant, and it was an offense against lesser competition that was unreal and incredibly productive. That's been the case this year for IU as well. 4th best scoring offense in the country, averaging damn near 48 points per game. Indiana's team total against a really good Ducks defense is 23.5 on Saturday afternoon in Eugene. Can Indiana get through that number? And if so, Schlegs, that's how I think the game is competitive for all 60 minutes. I do think Oregon wins. Heck, they're favored by more than a touchdown. But can Indiana stay within striking distance? And within that margin, again, it would be a huge step forward in truly legitimizing everything that Curt Cignetti has built in Bloomington, if that's the case.
Pretty remarkable to see. Weather might be a little inclement out there. Both of these teams, top 10 offense, top 10 defense, score a lot of points. Do you have a feel of which one of these teams, Ben, might be a little more beneficial to play in rain-soaked conditions out in Oregon?
Yeah, Bobby, right now, I actually think both teams are probably well suited for it. I think we're seeing both quarterbacks be incredibly efficient with the football, and Dante Moore and Fernando Mendoza, two quarterbacks right now that have each thrown for more than 13 touchdowns, and only 12 around the FBS level have done that so far this year. And both guys only have one interception to show for it, so they have been taking care of the football as well. Oregon's backfield has been really interesting. We obviously had the story last week about Mekhi Hughes, the Tulane transfer that came over, was supposed to be that lead dog in the backfield, replacing Jordan James in the production. He's not going to be there in 2026 probably for these Ducks in Eugene. It's been Jaden Lamar. It's been Noah Whittington, who was there last year. It's been some of the young guns like De'Aaron Hill Jr. That's been very exciting as a receiver out of the backfield as well. But for the Hoosiers, they've been really, really good on the ground as well. One of the better rushing offenses in college football as of last week. One of 9 teams averaging better than 250 yards per game on the ground. Indiana was right there. I don't really necessarily think bad weather favors either side. It could keep the scoring a little bit low, and I actually think that's where Indiana might struggle. I really want to see IU get to 24-plus points, get through that team total. If so, it's going to be a great one in Autzen.
Well, I'm going to go to this, because this betting line has me confused, and that's why I'm going to you, the man, the myth, the legend, guy who has 3 first names. Michigan's on the road, USC. We saw USC fall to a physical Illinois team, but now you got Michigan going all the way out west. USC in this, both teams 4-1. Michigan number 15, 2.5.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this game? Like, is this the hump that USC has to get over to be a legitimate contender in the Big Ten?
Yeah, I would say so. That's honestly how I would phrase it, because USC had that golden opportunity in Champaign against Illinois. All the matchups favored the Trojans in that game based on what we had seen early in 2025 in the end of year-over-year growth defensively under DC Danton Lynn. Ferocious up front, getting after the quarterback. Indiana got to Illinois 7 times the week prior, and yet Illinois figured it out, dominated physically, put up more than 500 yards against that SC defense, and it was one of the same old stories for the Trojans. They can score with anybody, but when a stop was needed, when a big play was needed, Lincoln Riley's club faltered in Big Ten play. Schlegs, welcome in one of the best rushing teams in the country, and Justice Haynes in his 5 games as a Wolverine has been sensational, averaging better than 130 yards per game on the ground. That's the 3rd best per game average in FBS college football. Can USC, with a week off now, fix the issues we saw against the Illini and try to stifle the rushing attack of the Maize and Blue? Bryce Underwood, great last week. Career best 270 yards against the Wisconsin defense that I thought he could take advantage of through the secondary. But in Underwood's 2 road starts, in Lincoln against Nebraska, in Norman against Oklahoma, he has thrown for fewer than 150 in both. Hasn't really done much. Can he take advantage of a USC defense that certainly still has some holes and weaknesses? But Schlegs, this is one of the spots that every handicapper looks at. You've got a ranked team, a top 15 team in the country in Michigan, playing really good Big Ten football in their 2 wins in conference play against the USC team that's like, same old for this Lincoln Riley side. Not great on the defensive end. They're into the thick of conference action now. How are they going to withstand the power of Michigan? And yet, the ranked team is a road underdog against the unranked foe. It is a spot where I think the Trojans do bounce back. I think USC wins on Saturday night in Los Angeles. I wish I could have bet the total earlier in the week when it opened at 54.5, because I do think we see some points. That's on the rise now by 3 points, 57 and a hook, which is not exactly how the public thinks of Michigan playing a football game. To me, that favors Southern Cal, and I might be there in attendance on Saturday inside the LA Memorial Coliseum to root on these 2 Big Ten programs.
And it's just wild for me to think that a 4-1 USC team wouldn't be ranked, in 2025. And I think that's kind of a testament to what has happened there over the last couple of years with Lincoln Riley, and there's some 7-5, 8-win-ish seasons, and not really getting over the hump with everything that they've got. So wild to think. We're going to take a quick break. We've got a lot more coming up, some other huge games across the country, including Red River. John Mateer, is he going to play? How will that impact the line? Find out here next. We'll We'll have that all coming for you here after the break. FanDuel, they've got an offer you don't want to miss this NFL season. New customers, you can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet $5, and if it wins, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the apps. You can build parlays, bet player props, ride the live lines, whatever your style. FanDuel, they've got you covered. The only question is, are you ready to play? Visit FanDuel.com/bigplay to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Must be 21 and older and present in select states for Kansas in affiliation with the Kansas Star Casino, or 18 and older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. More of the big games coming up next.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lakespur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lakespur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
Welcome back in the Bobby Carpenter Show, and a lot of huge games this Saturday in college football. While it might not be a ranked-on-ranked matchup, and maybe one team is struggling a little bit, it's not the team that we thought. And we're bringing back our guy, Ben Scott Stevens. Red River ripped off its traditional time slot at noon, but it's still the first Saturday in October at the Texas State Fair. You've got Oklahoma now -1.5. That was a line that has shifted dramatically. Johnny Mateer, their quarterback, does he play? Does he not? Does it even matter, Ben?
It's one of the great stories in college football this week. All of it has gone down with the boots on the ground reporting in Norman, Oklahoma. The Chipotle tortilla presser who gave a great interview yesterday to the local Oklahoma student TV station. Eddie Radosevich of Sooner Scoop in the bushes outside Memorial Stadium for OU, trying to get a glimpse at the most famous right thumb in college football, that being John Mateer. Based on everything that we're hearing, he is certainly trending toward play. I expect him to be there. It would be 17 days since his surgery on Saturday afternoon at the Cotton Bowl, taking on Texas in the Red River rivalry. And because of that, Bobby, because he was listed as questionable in the first SEC availability report, because he is trending and on track to play, we have seen this line shift drastically. If he does not play, Texas probably closes closer to a 5-point favorite. If he does play, we now see OU as that favored side. I bet Oklahoma yesterday at a +100 price on the money line because I wanted to get in while the getting was good. John Mateer, of course, is a huge difference. He is averaging 351 total yards per game in the 4 he has played for the Sooners. He has scored multiple total touchdowns in all 4 of those games, 10 total TDs this year. He has been everything we expected him to be in Norman under his OC and Ben Arbuckle, and even better. But one of the reasons I had the Sooners in the college football playoff entering this season is because of what we are seeing on the defensive side of the ball, that if you really dove into the numbers last year, although on average and total volume, it didn't look overly spectacular, was really, really good under Brent Venables. And that's what we're seeing right now. They are leading the country with 4.2 sacks per game, 21 in total. Whereas Texas struggling to protect Arch Manning. Gave up 6 sacks last week against Florida, only 52 yards on the ground. The Sooners are one of the best rushing defenses in college football. They are one of the best total in scoring defenses in college football. Ohio State is the best. They're only allowing 25 points in 5 games. Oklahoma second best, allowing just north of a touchdown, 36 total points in 5 games this year. I'm believing in that Sooners defense against the Texas offense with a struggling Arch Manning who has thrown for fewer than a 50% completion percentage in both of the games for UT against power conference foes. I'm taking Oklahoma just to win outright. And of course, if John Mateer is there, I feel only better about that bet.
I love it. I'm taking them too. Defense is really good. Defense wins big games like this. All right, I'm going to go to this. And I mean, there's so many good games. Let's go to Alabama, Missouri. Alabama going on the road to Missouri, beat Georgia, playing better after that Florida State loss earlier in the season. Kind of seemed like the favorite, right, in the SEC. What are you thinking about this game? Like, this is Missouri's chance to, like, plant the flag in the SEC that we're here.
They said, Ben, this was the biggest game in Mizzou in 20 years. Since
going
back to they played Kansas basically for the Big 12 championship or back then.
Yeah, without a doubt, right? It really does legitimize Mizzou as a team within the SEC. If they can win this game outright as a slight home underdog in Columbia over Alabama, then I think Eli Drinkwitz and the Tigers, also based on a weaker SEC slate, will be a true contender for a conference championship. Think about that. Eli Drinkwitz and his Tigers might be in pole position to win the SEC if they can beat Alabama on Saturday afternoon. And I think Missouri beats Alabama on Saturday afternoon. A lot of public money on the Crimson Tide, now with the line at 3, but it opened at 4.5. Most of the sharp money is on Mizzou as an underdog. Eli Drinkwitz took over in Columbia in 2020. So the first full season was the 2021 college football season. Missouri has been booked as a 3.5-point underdog or fewer against SEC foes 6 times. They have won outright in 5 of those 6 games. And here is why Missouri will do so on Saturday. It's Ahmad Hardy. It's the rushing offense for the Tigers, 3rd best in college football, in an Alabama rushing defense that is still struggling to contain the run, allowing better than 155 yards per game on the ground. That is Missouri's strength against Alabama's weakness. I think Ty Simpson has a really good game. The Tigers have looked good defensively. This is the best offensive attack on the other side they will see so far this year. You look in the numbers for Missouri against his power conference foes so far. In the border war against Kansas, allowed 31 points, but only a couple of scores in the second half. Against South Carolina, allowed 20 points, but in total in those 2 games, the Tigers have only allowed 16 second half points. I think Mizzou buckles up defensively. I think Missouri wins outright, and I actually love the total to the under of 51.5 as well.
Gosh, I love it, Ben. Huge game, big stuff. All right, in our last 2 minutes or so, Ohio State traveling to the Champagne Room, ranked on ranked, but a fairly large number. I think it started closer to 17. It's worked its way down to 14.5. Where do you see this guy going? Can the Bucs defense hold him to single digits once again?
That's going to be the story, right? We talked about Indiana getting through its team total in Eugene against Oregon. That was 23.5. Illinois' team total is 13.5 at home. And Ohio State has proven worthy and deserving of having the opponent team total look like 2 scores or maybe a single score, because Ohio State has not allowed double digits so far this year. The team that scored the most against the Buckeyes, as you guys well know, was Ohio, scoring 9. The 25 points that Ohio State has allowed through 5 games is the fewest by a Big Ten team since Michigan 40 years ago in 1985. Can Illinois score 2 touchdowns? If Illinois scores 2 touchdowns, will it be enough? It's really difficult for this Illini defense, I think. That is the 3rd worst total defense in college football, or in the Big Ten, rather, so far this year. They have caused a lot of turnovers, and the turnover margin, as we have seen for the Illini, against USC, against Purdue, on the road in Durham against Duke, has kind of put a small Band-Aid over some of those glaring weaknesses that they have allowed in chunk plays and given up. And Julian Sainz absolutely balling right now. I love what the ground attack has looked like with Bo Jackson leading the way for the Buckeyes. I'm not even so sure if Illinois gets to 14 if they stay within the number. But first and foremost, that is what the Illini must do. They have been a great underdog under Brett Bielema. I think it's probably a couple too many points. I do think Illinois keeps it within 2 touchdowns. Will it be closer than that? We shall see. For Illabuck back in our lives for the first time since 2017.
Oh, yeah. I might pop that Illabuck out next segment, take a little peek at him. I've got one at the house, Ben, from back in the day. We appreciate the time, sir. Thank you for spending with us. We really appreciate it. Enjoy the West Coast and hopefully enjoy that USC-Michigan game.
If I am at the USC-Michigan game on Saturday, I will be wearing the Big Ten hat in support of a great conference, first and foremost, not even cheering for a side.
There we go. I appreciate it, sir. Enjoy it. Have a good one. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you next week.
Thanks, brother.
There he is, our guy, Ben Scott Stevens, doing a great job. I want to tell you about our friends over at Export, parents and athletes. Protect what matters most with Export mouth guards, trusted by professional athletes, designed by NHL team dentists. Export mouth guards, they're scientifically tested to help absorb those high-impact hits, protecting both your teeth and your brain. Export mouth guards. They feature 3 layers of advanced protection, including a patented use of carbon fiber. They 3D print that bad boy right to your grill. More protection, better performance, max comfort, clear communication. So you can focus on your game, not on your gear. Do not take chances with your safety. Visit exportguards.com/Bobby today and save 15% on your order. Export, protect what matters most. More of the Bobby Carpenter Show coming up next.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
Welcome to the Bobby Carpenter Show. And as always, listen, depending on where you're watching, go follow us on social media, like, subscribe, leave your questions or comments at Bobby Carpenter Show. We really appreciate it. Schlegs, as always, this happens every single year. And now we're kind of halfway through the season. So you get a chance to kind of really have a feel for teams. And this is a big inflection point for some teams this week as you look at it and see what they need to get done. And kind of, are they trending upward? Do they have a chance to maybe win a conference? Do they have a chance to get to the playoff? Or are they going to kind of spiral into the abyss? And there were 3 teams that were ranked in the top 10 that are now outside of the top 25. It's crazy to think that. And I do this exercise at the beginning of every year. Pick your team or 2 that's going to fall out. I thought Miami would potentially be the team that would fall out. That shows how much that I know. Pick a team that could hop in. And I can't remember who I picked. Maybe it was Indiana, Illinois. I'm not sure. I feel like I may have been closer to right on that one. But Miami's playing great ball. But there are 3 teams right now, if you throw them up there, Schlegs, or 2 teams that are 1 and 2 in the preseason that are unranked. You throw Clemson in there. That was preseason number 4.
Yep.
Those 3 teams are combined 8 and 7 after week 6. And Texas and Penn State both had some pretty tough losses. Penn State back-to-back. And both of them are going to have a heck of a climb to try to get back in this thing.
Oh, yeah, they are. As I'm just talking to the chat, because I need to get to ask Ben. The daggum time. We just need more segments. We just need more segments with him because, there are so many good lines this week, Bob, that I didn't get to ask him because I might even have to go do that. Georgia, Auburn, that's crazy. Utah, Arizona State.
Let's just not forget about Notre Dame as well.
That's a great one too, Bob. That's a great one.
Let's try to stay on topic here for the next 3 minutes.
I will answer your question. What do they got to do? Honestly, it comes at a great time for Texas because it's a rivalry game in the middle of the season, and this could easily get you back on that trajectory. But to Ben's point, in these type of games, where do you want to lean on? You want to lean on your defense. Where has Texas struggled? That offensive line that everybody's like, I remember in our game, right, for Ohio State, their offensive line is really good. I'm taking their offensive line. They have struggled to protect Arch Manning. And it's not just Arch Manning. There's a lot of other nuances that are going on defensively. What are they doing? They're not where they are. However, this is a rivalry. This is Red River. This could definitely put you back on that trajectory of this is a team that we could be, especially being a number 6 Oklahoma with the line being what it is. That's huge for them. Penn State, where do you go? Especially when you have some huge matchups coming up. That's back to keeping it simple. Honestly, self-introspection. What are we doing defensively that is not allowing this talent, both sides of the football, offense and defense, to allow our guys to play fast and violent. That's something else. Now you got to go out there, have great weeks of practices, stack them up, and then go into those games and win some meaningful games. That's what they got to do, Bob.
So obviously you've got Red River for Texas. So that's going to get your attention right away. If your guys can't get up, and that's a game that if you're from there, so like you being from the state of Texas, living there, knowing like this is bragging rights. A lot of these guys played high school football in the state of Texas against each other. Even if you're Texas and you don't have a chance to go to the playoff this year, or something happens, you win this game, like that still matters a lot. And so that this is an opportunity to kind of right that wrong. And for Oklahoma, holy smokes, they want to go win this thing. Penn State, good news for them is they've got Northwestern coming to town. So that's kind of a built-in get-right game, hopefully. You thought UCLA was last week, but that was a travel game. And so when this west to east travel thing is, we're going to continue to talk about this as the season goes on, because that's something that has kind of plagued the Big Ten, where these teams that have had to go far and wide, they've struggled. And especially some of the West Coast teams, you saw USC last week against Illinois struggling when they came there. And I believe it was an 11 a.m. local start and 9 a.m. for them on the West Coast. And it's just getting these guys going, getting them up, getting them ready to play. And then also, Schlegs, I think the one other thing, and Notre Dame obviously lost a couple. They're 16. Clemson struggled. And there's two things with it. Like, did we overvalue what they were? Like as former players, coaches, writers, people that work in the media, are you overvaluing teams early? I think there might be a part of it. We make this list of assumptions, and then we start to kind of build out, well, if this, then that. And Schlegs, as you know, we were going back to get our MBA. You get into coding and some of the Excel work, the nested if functions. The more ifs are in there, the more things can potentially go wrong. The more things you need to go right in sequence. It's like a long parlay, and those ifs turn into fifth, Schlegs, and then eventually you're drinking yourself to death, because it's really hard to say that. Like, well, this Texas offensive line, they should be really good. They're rebuilt. We like them. If they're good, they've got two really good running backs. Well, then that running game's going to get going. They'll give Arch plenty of time. They'll have a well-balanced offense. They've got good receivers. We know about the defense, and the defense has been good. Now, they've had obviously a let up last week against Florida, but they're not getting any help on the other side.
Right.
It's the same thing with Penn State. Like, if Drew Aller takes the step, feel like he was going to do that. You've got the good running backs. You brought in receivers that should be pretty good. Offensive line's pretty solid. We knew that defense was pretty good. Like, when all those things have to be if, you start wondering, like, well, if one of those ifs falls apart, do the rest of them fall apart as well? And that can always be the case. All right, long for a break here. Tell you about our friends at Backer, premium new college gear, whether it's the Buckeyes, Texas. They've got a bunch of teams for them. It's bckr.com. Go check it out. It looks good and it feels great, folks. It's that high-end gear, the hunting, fishing, golfing attire that you love. It's got all the features that you're going to need. Premium gear for premium fans, Buckeyes, Ducks, all across the country. They've got you covered. Use promo code all caps Bobby, BOBBY, at checkout for free expedited shipping. Again, that's Backer, bckr.com. That's the Bobby Carpenter Show, ready to roll.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
All right, Schlegs, we're adding the third member of our crew. He's back this week. Illinois, Iowa State, Illinois. He's right here, ready to
Have you
rock.
named him, Bob? Have you named that Illinois?
Well, I don't know. He's not really saying a whole lot right now. It's a giant wooden turtle. The Big Ten, you play for trinkets and all kinds of little trophies. This is obviously an older one. But what do you got to say here, Mr. Illebuck? You've got a question for Lift It or Leave It. Absolutely. Can what? Oh, can Penn State do better than James Franklin? Should they move on from James Franklin after the season, Schlegs?
He's
been really good. He's been good, Schlegs. He's You show up every year, he gives you 10 wins. Maybe not this year, though.
Yeah. Well, the disappointing thing for this year is that you had a veteran team, and we've seen over the last 2 seasons veteran teams have success. It was what everybody thought about Clemson this year. Could you do better? I mean, as far as like recruiting, they're always up there at the top in recruiting. It goes into, do they want to pay them the money to walk away? That's really goes into, and then how does that set you back? Could they potentially do better? The answer is yes, because I think that the areas in which they needed help, he didn't address those areas. To me, it's more on the offensive side of the ball. The defense has always been fairly consistent as far as being a dominant top 10 defense year in and year out. It was the offense. It was the quarterback development. It was the ability to have personnel on the perimeter to expand the field and also have a quarterback that could throw it to them. Is that development? Is that recruiting? What is the answer? Do we go back to where they do a little bit of the hardball situation of that contract and taking some of that out? Because they gave him, if I'm not mistaken, it was a 10-year contract. Yeah. Are we seeing that those 10-year contracts are a little lofty, especially because they're guaranteed money? And what do we do with potential losing players in the portal of money that we've given them up front? So the answer is, I'm gonna lift it, but here's the caveat. It has to be the right person. I think it's kind of like those people that say, you got to have an SEC coach that goes into the SEC. Is it a Big Ten coach that goes to Penn State that knows how to win in that conference?
Someone asked me the question. They brought this up. You know where James Franklin came from, Schlegs?
Man, I did. Where did he come from?
Came from Vanderbilt. Could they replace one former Vanderbilt coach with another Vanderbilt coach in Clark Lee? You know, could you bring him in? I mean, you're winning at Vanderbilt. In theory, you should be able to win anywhere. And James Franklin has won at Penn State, and he's won.
He's been consistent.
He has made them relevant.
Yes.
Every year we're talking about them. Hell, they were in the semifinal last year. They finished like basically behind Ohio State and Michigan or Michigan State. Like they've been in that third wheel, second wheel. Now, granted, they did win one and they beat Ohio State one year. But for 10 years, like they've been in that conversation. So can you get better? Yeah. Can you do better than him? You can't. I know this. You can do worse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It can fall apart. Like big game James, just maybe because he hasn't won the big game. And here's another alternative scenario that not so many people are thinking about. Should something happen at maybe one of these other programs, let's just say Billy Napier can't hang on. And I love Billy Napier. I'm hoping he wins down there in Florida. But if he moves on, does James Franklin look to go there? Is he the one that potentially makes the move? Because he's been flirting a lot, you know, with USC. There was some conversations, some overtures. I know he's kind of talked, you know, and said he's always been dedicated to Penn State. But when these jobs come open, he's always gotten a contract raise. He's a proud guy. I think he wants to not leave there until he's got something substantial, one, for the conference or for the school. But it just seems like you know, they haven't gotten it done maybe to the degree that they'd like to. I'm going to leave it right now. I don't think you should move on from him, but there is a potential that he could maybe move on from you. And that's with the caveat that they still win 9. I think they lose to Ohio State. But if they lose to Ohio State and Indiana, I think you probably move on with him at 8-4. The question just is, that's an expensive buyout, and I don't know.
And that's after 1 year removed, Bob, of going to the college football playoff semifinal.
So like, easy come, easy go.
And my only point is this, is it's so crazy because then you look, I know we're taking a lot of time on this segment, but you look at Kirk Ferentz in Iowa. And the thing is, like, do we want to become that? And you hit the nail on the head when you said he has made them consistently relevant.
Yeah.
The thing is, what has he done as the CEO of that business to get them in the conversation of seeing progress and winning the bigger games? And this is the same conversation we even had 16 months ago with Coach Day.
Yeah.
The script and won 7 of the 8 last top 10 matchups that he's been in. It's easy to change that trajectory, but can he do it? And I think that Ryan, self-introspect, saw what he needed, made the moves, and to quote a movie, made all the right moves.
Yes, he did. Well, it's not that. I don't think they're very far from Ampipe, West Virginia, and Happy Valley either. Schleich, just remember that. Ampipe, 6'2" stack monster. What was that, Mr. Illebach? Oh, the winning quarterback of the Indiana-Oregon game will be in New York for the Heisman Trophy. Dante Moore, quarterback for Oregon, currently plus 700. Fernando Mendoza has the sixth best odds at plus 1,300.
Oh my gosh!
Both
you know
those
what?
guys, top six. Dante Moore is second behind Carson Beck.
I'm going to just say this. The fact that nobody's talking about Julian Sain in that conversation is crazy. Will the winner of this be there? The answer is potentially yes. I'll lift it, because if you go back and look, like Indiana has one other big game, and that will be the Penn State game. Oregon, Dante Moore, and here's the other thing. They got a great defense behind them and a schedule that bodes well for them to have it to where you're going into a Big Ten championship game potentially with Ohio State. That's where the magic happens. But I will say this, in order to be there, you got to win the big games. And if Fernando Mendoza can go on the road into Eugene and win that football game for them, along with the display that he put on against Illinois, and then beat Penn State, he's just building that resume up. So the answer, I would lift it.
All right, final one from Mr. Illebach. Great question. A team that is currently unranked will make the college football playoff. Lift it or leave it. You don't have all day.
Leave it. No. I'm thinking.
Right,
I'm looking at potential unranked one. I'm going to lift it. I'm going to lift it. Or I'm going to leave it. Excuse me. Bob,
you've got Texas. You've got Penn State there in that mix. Schleich, you also have Cincinnati, who all they have to do, for Cincinnati, all they've got to do is win the Big 12. And listen, they're playing well in the Big 12. I think they're undefeated. They beat Iowa State last week. Who else do you have?
I really like Texas. That's what I'm saying. That's going to be a one big league, right? So where does Texas fall? And if you go and you get beat by OU, you're not making it. Penn State, what transpires for you?
I get you. So, how about it's tough. I'm going to leave that because I don't think Utah is getting in. I don't think Nebraska's getting in. Cincinnati has a shot. I don't think Texas can beat their way out of it. I don't think Penn State can beat both Ohio State. I don't think they beat Ohio State, but I don't think they beat Ohio State and Indiana. If they won them both, they get back in.
Yes.
He doesn't agree either, Schleiks. Mr. Illebach doesn't think.
Think about this, too. Texas still has to play Georgia, and they still have to play A&M at the end of the season.
The best news is they have a path to get in.
Yeah.
But that path, Schleiks, is going to be real bumpy, as you would say, and it's going to be hard for them to get there. So that's going to be really tough. Okay, one more quick one, Schleiks, and you've got about 30 seconds on this. Red River Shootout is the best rivalry in the SEC, which is crazy because it's – I
know. It's the Southwest Conference all over again, but they're just in the Southeast Conference now. I'm going to say this. I never played in any of these. Growing up in Texas, it was a big deal, Red River Shootout, but that Iron Bowl –
Iron Bowl's big.
Iron Bowl's big.
World's largest cocktail party, Florida, Georgia, but neither of those teams have been great usually when they're playing each other. Alabama, Tennessee, but Bama's been dominating it. Obviously, the Iron Bowl, you've got but Auburn is not they're not on the same class, sorry, Auburn, as Alabama generally. Egg Bowl, but there hadn't been a lot played for. So there's a lot there, obviously.
I'll lift it, though.
I'll lift it as well. Headlines brought to you by Lakespur Marketing. They use their 100 combined years of experience to choose marketing strategies, tools, and products that are right for your business. They'll shield you from the cold callers trying to pitch you the latest and greatest. Listen, they let you do what you do best, which is work on your business. They'll eliminate waste and get the most out of that marketing budget. Trust the experts. Trust Lakespur Marketing. The proof is in their partners. Tailgate Talk coming up next.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
All right, welcome back in the Bobby Carpenter Show. It's our Tailgate Talk where we answer some of your questions that we throw out here. Question strikes coming from Terry. Last year, and this is a pretty good one, all we heard there was Ohio State's $20 million roster, but no mention of Texas in their roster, the Texas Tech $40 million that people are spending, and everybody front-loading stuff, Oregon, how much they've spent. Like, the narrative that is thrown out there is amazing, and it's a great question because, you know, I don't think that that's relevant anymore, but I don't know why it wasn't relevant last year either.
I'm just talking the chat because these guys are amazing. I have no clue, man. I just think they want the narrative to be whatever the narrative is, and that's why, like what Troy Smith talked about, Julian saying, like, you just change the name, and it's just mind-boggling to me. The number one team in the country doesn't get the. Now, I'm not going to say respect, but they don't give the shout-outs, the airtime that these other – it's like everybody else wants to go find some kind of nugget as opposed to talking about the nuggets that they already got that are proven. But it's also – and I can see this as well. Like, Miami has had some big wins, right? You had a ranked USF. You had I don't know if Florida was ranked at the time, but you beat a ranked Florida State team. You beat a ranked Notre Dame team. Like, I would say probably their bigger wins are bigger than that of Ohio State's right now. But looking at what Ohio State has done and where they are statistically, you can't discount them from the conversation, and nobody talks about it. I don't understand that. So maybe more people in the media talking about Ohio State, you know?
Well, one of the things, there's a little shade cut in there from Heather Dinich. I know she was pointing out, like, Miami's strength of wins and strength of record is probably better than Ohio State's, which, like, those are just numbers and those are facts and those are things that they look at in the CFP meeting room, but then they also watch the games. And Ohio State played a Texas team that people perceive to be really good, and they are very talented, but Ohio State dominated the game. It was basically a 2-score game the entirety of the game. So, and they beat a Washington team that was good. They beat a ranked Illinois team. Or beat a ranked, or not a ranked, a Minnesota team that was pretty good, and they play a ranked Illinois team. So we'll see, honestly, how that goes. And if we want to throw up the Troy Smith endorsement here of Julian saying and everything, and this is Troy Smith, our former teammate, last Heisman Trophy winner at Ohio State, saying about Julian saying, got to talk straight facts. If the kid at Texas would have had the start that Julian Sain is having here for Ohio State, he'd be first in the Heisman votes. Davey O'Brien talks in any other major awards at the end of the season, put some respect on what he's doing. And it's pretty true. Like, Julian's a quiet kid. I think people knew him because he transferred in from Alabama. He was a big-time recruit. All he's just done is go out there and put up numbers. He hasn't thrown picks, really. He's been very efficient with the football. I think it will all come. They're going to have big games. You're going to get a chance to play Illinois. You're going to have a chance against Penn State. You're going to get Michigan at the end of the year. Like, there's going to be opportunities for this and a Big Ten championship, hopefully, to be able to play. And so I love that Troy's saying that. I think it's real and it's true, but he'll get his time will come. I promise you that.
Yeah. It'll come in those big moments and those big games. And we saw that even with Will Howard. Like, you got to go be battle tested, and that on the road 1 versus 3 matchup in Oregon moved the needle for Will. And you got to be in those games to experience it. And I just think as this team continues to evolve, the best part about it is that they're just going about handling their business. I was listening to Arvell Reese and his literally like 5-word sentences about himself. And some of the things that Caleb has been talking about. The dudes are just so locked in here about just doing their job and not worrying about all of the other things and awards. They know all those happen when you go win and you win decisively, which is what they've been doing, which is why I'm excited to watch this 1 versus 17 matchup in Champaign.
Yeah, one of the other questions thrown in here by Ed is, should Illinois be ranked? And, a lot of this is based upon what they've done early in the season. They got beaten up really bad by a good Indiana team. I think Indiana is a legitimate top 10 team. Very, very good. Illinois bounced back from that. They've got a really good quarterback in Altmaier. He can move. They've got some good receivers. Their line, the one thing I'm kind of disappointed with, their offensive line I don't think is as dominant in their running game as what Bielema typically has.
Yeah.
I think Bielema normally Schlegs, like he is big into having those dominant fronts, and they're not quite as good. At least they didn't look like that against Indiana, and they didn't look like that against Purdue. Now, they were able to run it some against USC pretty well, but I don't know how tough USC is up front either.
And that's the biggest thing in this game, Bob, is like at the beginning, Ohio State, what was it? Defensive line. It was the, inexperience of the offensive line. We know teams that win have great line play. We saw that last year, even with the job that Coach Fry did, 9 starters throughout that year. They were dominant up front when it had to be in the college football playoff. This year, offensive line has been fantastic. Like they're top 5 in almost every statistical category. Defensive line, they are getting sacks and pressures and stopping the run. They are really effective. That's what this game's going to come down to. And and what they've been able to do, Bob, by eliminating the run, they are putting all the pressure on the quarterback, and then Matt Patricia and the dudes, the Silver Bullets, have a field day. And that's what you see. And that's why I'm excited to watch this game of the physicality up front from Ohio State versus Illinois. That's the matchup that I want, because that dictates everything else as the game plays out, the way the game's going to play out.
Yeah, you've got to be able to win the matchups up front. You go look, the reason Texas has struggled, they haven't been able to run the ball. You go look at Penn State against UCLA finishing
100%.
4th and 2, and you're running a quarterback zone read. You've got Allen, you've got Singleton.
Yes.
Pick one of those guys, get them in the backfield, give them the rock, and let them run downhill. And if you can't get 2 yards against the UCLA defense that has been terrible, then you don't deserve to win.
Bro, 280 yards, Bob, to 157, if I'm not mistaken, if my memory is correct. I mean, that is crazy. UCLA, 0-4 versus Penn State, and the physicality of that, and that's what you put out there?
You go, look, Clemson, why aren't they good? They cannot run the football. Teams that are good this year, Oregon, running the football well. Bama, running the football pretty well. Georgia Tech runs the football pretty well. Ohio State, running the football really well. Like you can just scroll through the teams. Missouri runs the football well. Quarterback and running backs. Indiana running it well. Like all of these teams, Notre Dame, while they may have struggled defensively, their running game has taken some heat off of their defense because they can control the line of scrimmage and control the clock. So when you can run the football, it makes it easier for everybody. It makes it easier for everybody to continue to move forward. All right. Caden wants to know about our score prediction slides. You threw yours in the chat.
No, that was just a guess. I'm not on it all the way.
Score predictions come on Friday's show. So we give you the day before score predictions. We'll get you going on that. So that is it for this tailgate talk. Coming up next, Shuggs is going to wrap up the show with his side nuggets and parting thoughts. Coming up next.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
All right, Schlegs, what are some of your parting thoughts here?
Well, hey, Caden in the chat, listen, 49-6 Buckeyes. I like that. I like it. It's super juicy. That means guys are coming out at 11 o'clock in the champagne room, starting fast and violent.
By the way, have you heard about what's going on down at Chapel Hill, Schlegs, with Chapel Bill?
I have heard it, I don't want it to be true. Here's what I don't like: when you're getting the side convo of coaches leaking stuff to the media or whatever, as other people are taking phone calls and what's going on. And then I know that UNC and Coach Belichick both put out a statement saying we're all in. It's kind of disheartening. It's like you knew this thing was going to be bumpy. You brought in, I think, 60, 70 different portal guys. You knew it was going to be
40, sure, yeah. It was a lot.
It was a lot, right? So you knew it was going to be somewhat tumultuous this season. However, I thought he could get it done faster, the turnaround faster, and it's not living up to that. But you still have a long season, and you got to just focus on the developmental of your team and going out there and playing hard. And that's the thing I look at, are the guys playing hard. I haven't watched a lot of UNC football, but that's the one thing. If I think there is something that would be going on, it would show up into how hard these guys play for 4 quarters.
Well, are they playing for the guys? Do they believe in their coach? You know, they believe he's there. That's what's pretty wild, is the fact that there's all this smoke. And Schleggs, the thing is, he went on vacation for his bye week, and I was having a conversation with another coach about this. I've never heard of coaches going on vacation during their bye week. I mean, you know, your vacation is for the coach. You get home and have dinner with your family. Like, that's the vacation during the season. Off season, yeah, go do whatever you want, but very rarely, especially a head coach. And so I just worry about the GSF there, what's going on up and down the staff. And like you said, if you have coaches calling already, trying to figure out jobs and stuff after the season, this thing seems probably already cooked anyway. And it's not the wins and losses. It's how they've looked.
Yes.
And there's simple solutions to some of the things that are happening in the games that maybe you don't win the game, but you make it a hell of a lot more competitive, and guys go out there and play. And it's wild to think that that's the case. Those things just aren't being corrected. And I don't understand why it's not happening, because Bill's playing for the guy. He's one of the smartest coaches, Schleggs, I've ever been around.
And fundamentals win, Bob. Fundamentals win. And that when you go watch a team, just like last week, I'm watching the Hastings Jones Middle School game, 7th grade, right? Like my number one takeaway was like, hey, you got 2 junior high teams that are playing fundamentally sound. I'm watching kids could they be better? Could their stances be better? 100%. But I'm watching really good fundamentals, and I'm watching kids play really hard that care about playing football. I'm like, that's what you want to see as far as a progression. And when you look at the college game, what are these guys doing? And if they are, I have watched a little bit, and in those games, fundamentally, they looked lost, which I would never have thought I would see that. And that's why you have doubts creep in about, can he get this done?
And you're an Eric Mangini guy, which was a Bill disciple. You played for him. You know the attention to detail and how.
Oh, man.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
It is. It's crazy. And so that, to see that, like, it just doesn't make sense. All right, Schleggs, let's hit us with your parting thoughts.
Hey, before you play that, Pat, this goes into what I'm going to talk about. And it was a great thing from 11 Warriors. And Ryan Day was just talking about the right guard position. And it was about old Padilla. Now, his name is Josh Padilla, but I like to call him that. He has a really good caveman forehead, has a flat top. You have to respect that, okay? So he said on the right guard position, I think it's more about the work Josh is putting in on a daily basis. When you watch our second group go out there late in the game, they usually go 3 and out. These guys went right down the field. When we see Josh out there, we see really good play. That's also including practice. I'm putting that in there because there was a bunch of little dots, all right, in the quote. We wanted Josh to get some work at right guard because we feel like he deserved that opportunity. And that opportunity became Josh has gone through really hard things. Play the clip. That was a good segue.
We're so afraid for our kids to be exposed to hard things. We're so worried about everybody's feelings. We're so worried about, and I get it, right? It's a different time and it's a different time. It's a different day and age. What went on 20 years ago would not fly today. I understand that. But I also think, like, hard is good. Yeah. I think hard is, the earlier you can learn to deal with hard, the easier it gets to deal, because hard's coming. Whether we want to shield our kids from it now or not, hard's coming, and it might come in high school, college, it might come your first job, your first boss,
Boom. Cut
first
it.
marriage,
Thank you.
whatever it is.
That's what it's about. And I tell you this, I was there, 13, 14 years ago when it was really hard. And you're 100% right, folks. Like, there's things that we did that you cannot do today. However, those guys got better. And I say this all the time. Urban Meyer's best coaching job is not 3 national championships. It was 2012, 12-0. Best coaching job he ever did. Why? Those kids went through some really hard things. Josh Padilla, he's been sitting in the background, but he's been consistent, doing the hard things. And when called upon, he has responded and has now afforded himself some opportunity. Granted, I think he's going to be a phenomenal center, but he's getting an opportunity to go play right guard. And the thing in football is play the best 11. And because of competitive excellence, everybody, regardless of your position, is on tilt. That's why consistency matters. That's why doing hard things matter. And it's not just a football thing. It's not just an athletic thing. It's a life thing. I tell my wife all the time, you can do hard things. She has to tell me sometimes, you can do hard things. I tell my daughter and kids that you can do hard things. And I want that because hard is coming, and it comes fast, and it comes often in life.
Absolutely. Well, that is a great message to have. It's why you play sports, to learn the hard lessons, to learn how to do hard things, to overcome those adversities. And you watched that Ohio State team do it last year. We'll see if anybody can do that this Saturday. If Penn State, Texas, can they get up off the mat, Schlegs? Can they be like the Undertaker and rise up and get it done? Thanks for tuning in. Stay locked in to the Bobby Carpenter Show.